Welcome back, everybody. All right, so let's go ahead and let's go and add something to this if statement. So if I type in any kind of word here and I change the text, it all works. It's just the same as the last tutorial. Now, you can add something to the if statement called an else statement, which is something you just say else. Now, of course, an else statement needs two curly braces. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to copy this over and I'm going to paste it in here. Instead of making change text variable to something, I'm just going to make it to a string saying else statement fired, stuff like that. Okay, and all it's gonna say is that when I do this here, for example, if I type in word f here, it's gonna work because cool number is equal to 1. But if I change this to 2, instead of the if statement, it's gonna go to the else. And let's just walk through this. So, if the if statement is equal to 1, then this is gonna work. Else means that if cool number is equal to any other number other than 1, it will go ahead and put this in here. So I can type in whatever I want, but it's going to say else statement is fired. It's always going to say that if cool number is not equal to 1. It could be equal to 1,000. It can be equal to negative 56. It doesn't matter what cool number is equal to. If it's not equal to 1, the else statement is going to fire. Now, the other thing that we need to check up here is that you'll see that there are two change text variables. And why can this work? So you'll see that there is a change text variable here and then a change text variable here. Now, in a couple previous tutorials, I did tell you that you can't make a variable equal to the same name. And I did say that, but it changes a little bit here. If I were to add another variable called cool number, it would throw an exception because the computer doesn't necessarily know which variable to look at. So it could be cool number or cool number, which is the same. It gets confused. However, when you set up a variable within these curly brackets, this works as something called variable scope, meaning that change text variable is only usable within this if statement. I can't use it outside of this if statement at all, right? And again, this change text variable is only usable within the else statement. Okay, it's not usable outside that. So if I hop outside the if statement, and by the way, this is the entire if statement here. This is the if statement and this is the else statement, but the whole thing works like this. Okay, and if you think about it here, this is more function. We can do some stuff in here. But if I type in change text variable, okay, you see that it does kind of work, but you can see that there's a whole bunch of warnings here. The text changes, but again, in this editor, it only looks for the strings within the document. It doesn't look for it inside scope. You need to go to something like Visual Studio or Xcode or something like that, okay? But you can see that there's 4 warnings here, and it's because the variable is essentially undefined, meaning that it doesn't even know it exists, right? And again, remember, you have to declare the variable, which is what I've done here, in order for the computer to see if that variable is actually usable. So again, I can get away with this, and I can get away with actually having the change text variable in as many if statements as I want. I could have 100 of these if I really wanted to. Now, the major question is should you change the variable within the if and the else statement? So, for example, here you can see that it says there's 2 change text variables. That could get kind of confusing. Some people do change it up. It's up to you whether you want to do that or not. Personally, I tend to not use these local variables as much as I can. One thing that JavaScript is actually really good at is referencing variables across scope. In other programming languages, it's not necessarily that easy. All right, so for the most part, that is how an else statement works. All right, I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.